Yo, what is up guys? I'm bringing you a brand new video and welcome to my Succession Berserker PvE guide. In this video, I'm going to take you through the brand new combo that we should be using in 2025, as well as talk about the skill add-ons and what I think of the class overall in the meta. But I'm going to talk about the meta stuff a little bit later on. Let's get right into the guide. So from here, you guys can see my main add-ons. These have not changed since my last video, but the combo sure has. So I've set up my UI with the skill actual combinations here underneath each of them. And the way that this UI is organized is you have your priority and then your secondary priority. So anytime anything on this left side is available to be using, you should be using it. And this isn't as annoying as you might think it is because these abilities right here all have the same cooldown and these abilities have long cooldowns. So as long as this whole left side is on cooldown, you should be fine. And then you use any of these abilities for the filler damage that you need along the way. Now, this quick slot ability right here, Frenzied Tyrant, this is a bit of a exception. You sort of just use this whenever you need to group mobs together. So say you need a large AoE, it's a second pack of Dark Seekers, it's, any sort of tower spot as the mobs are running towards you. That's really where this ability shines. It has some pretty decent damage for what it is, but it does have a pretty long animation, and the AoE sort of makes up for it and makes it useful. So to show you what the main combo looks like, you're going to go SFLMB, Shift FLMB for 3 ticks into SRMB, then you hold RMB for 4 strikes, then you do WF twice. Now notice that that ability kind of moved me. Well, when you hit a monster, that's going to basically happen instantly. So if I were to go over to a monster like this, and I hit WF, that's what it looks like. So it goes off very, very quickly. And once you do that, you're going to go into LMB RMB, which is Raging Thunder. So what this would look like on an actual monster, let's go over here and I'll show you. So you're going to do SFLMB, 3 hits of this into Windstorm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then you go directly into LMB RMB. That's going to be sort of your main skill tree to focus on. And something else that you should notice is that because LMB RMB is a channeled ability, it takes a long time to go off. Your main DPS 4 skills here are back off of cooldown, so you pretty much repeat it. So you go all these 6 skills, followed by these 4 skills. Those are going to be your first 10 skills. Once that happens, that's when you start moving into this tree. So let's show what that may look like over here. So you go SFLMB, you can go Ultimate Frenzy Destroyer, Windstorm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, into LMB RMB. And your abilities are back up, so 1, 2, 3, Windstorm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, then Shift Q. Then you can go WC, and then your Predatory Hunt is back, so 1, 2, 3, Windstorm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then your Spin is back. And from there, it's back, so 1, 2, 3, Windstorm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now, I find it very easy for me to count because you're doing 3 hits of this, you're doing 4 hits of this, you're doing 2 hits of this. Right, so it's very, very helpful to count out as you're sort of learning. And then from there, you go into the spin. Now, notice something that I did there. I kind of went a little bit off rotation positionally. So positioning-wise, it's very, very helpful to use Time to Rock whenever you need to get behind a monster pack. So sometimes this Q ability, I will use it even though SFLMB is available, because it's just going to position me a lot better. So keep that in mind. Additionally, keep in mind that you can use Shift A or Shift D to get behind monsters. So that's also a very, very useful ability to be using. And from there, you guys have pretty much seen the majority of what your combo is going to look like. Now, something that is worth mentioning is not all mob packs are going to be as tidy as one Olin's Golem. And your RMB ability here, this has a very small AoE, as well as your WF ability also has a very small AoE. So you really need to use those abilities potentially sparingly, and it may be worthwhile for you to be using these abilities instead, depending on how large of a pack of mobs that you are fighting. Because all of these abilities are sort of your AoE abilities. And then these abilities are sort of your smaller, I mean, Frenzy Destroyer has good damage, but these three abilities have sort of smaller AoE. So sometimes it's not going to be as easy as just saying, do this, and then do these whenever you need time for these. Because, you know, for a good Berserker, you're going to need to use these abilities for large AoE. And in some cases, you might even need Furl Rage. So Furl Rage, this ability right here, this is what I would consider your filler damage. So say, for example, you are completely panicked, you don't know what you're doing, all your stuff's on cooldown, and you're just like, I need AoE, and these two abilities, like these three abilities, are just not large enough AoE for me. I need something. You can just hit Shift X and just go directly into this ability, and then you can hit L and B to cancel it at any time. That's sort of like your, ooh, I don't know what to do, I'm panicking ability. But technically, the ability is actually not that good of damage if you were to compare. So I'll show you one more time what this combo is going to look like, and you can get an idea of how it's going to go. I have a hard time saying the abilities because I am counting, and I suggest that you guys count as well if you're practicing. So we're going to go SFL and B into Shift A, Ultimate Frenzy Destroyer, Windstorm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, into the spin. Now this spin does have mob pass through, which is nice. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then sometimes as well, what you notice I just did there is I used one tick of claws after using Shift A or Shift D. That is something that you can do because it just cancels really well. So say if I did Shift A and try to do Devastation, see how there was like kind of a large gap there? This ability doesn't really flow well after anything other than claws. So sometimes you go Shift A claws Devastation, and it's sort of like an animation cancel. So sometimes you will hit one tick of your RMB skill, even though it's on cooldown, just because it just flows better than anything. But that is essentially it, and that is going to get you through, I would say, the majority of grind spots. Now, the actual combination itself, if you really wanted to get super sweaty with it, you can also consider this Shift Q ability. So we're getting super into the nitty-gritty. This is sort of like the expert part of the video. In the expert part of this video, it's essentially Shift Q and Shift LMB. These have a 10-second buff that they apply to you when you cast them, and it gives you 30% critical hit rate. But the problem is the Shift Q has a 20-second cooldown. So what that ends up meaning is that if you do this ability, and then as soon as 3 seconds is left on this timer, you can choose to, instead of doing this ability, you can do these ones down here. And then as soon as this has 3 seconds, you cast this. And then what you do is as soon as this ability has 10 seconds left, you would then cast Predatory Hunt. And so what you're essentially doing is you're now rotating these abilities with 10-second timers because it's giving you that critical hit rate. And this ticks down the exact moment, and then you tick it back up. Then you wait for this to be 10 seconds, and that way there you can keep up your critical hit rate 100% of the time. Now, the reason why this is only slightly relevant and really more of the expert, like min-maxing, is the only ability that this really does anything for you is your RMB ability, which, to be fair, you are using that ability every 6 seconds. But everything else that you're using, right? BC Wind Slash, that has 100% crit. You have Frenzy Destroyer, has 100% crit. Your Raging Thunder already has 25% in PvE. WC also has a decent amount of crit on it. It's got actually 100% crit. Your Time to Rock has 100% crit. Ancient Wave has 100% crit. So like you're really going out of your way to do that, which is why I didn't really care to really teach anybody that other than just talk about it briefly. But if you are doing it fully efficiently, then you are going to want to do it that way. So let me try to simulate a combo where I'm just DPSing endlessly, and I'll show you what your PvE might look like. I'm going to skip using WF for now, just because it doesn't really work unless you're hitting a monster. But keep in mind that you would be casting that ability in the middle of this. So you're going to go SF, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. You would have WF'd there, but instead you spin. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, shift Q. Then you go WC, then you go there. And then you would go Q, SC, and then once you get to this point, another really useful cancel. So notice how everything was on cooldown and we were about to go back into Raging Thunder. Another really useful thing to do is your Lava Piercer into Raging Thunder. So what I wanted to do in that moment was I wanted to go shift space into LMB RMB. And this is really good positionally as well as just to get you into it very, very quickly. So I'll show you one more time what that may look like. So SFLMB, 1, 2, 3, SRMB, 1, 2, 3, 4, into spin. Once the spin is over, you got Shift FLMB, Windstorm, 1, 2, 3, 4, Shift Q, WC, SFLMB, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, Q, SC, Lava Piercer into spin, and then back into Shift FLMB, Windstorm, 1, 2, 3, 4, Predatory Hunt, WC, Q, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back into spin. And essentially what you're doing is you're just rotating completely from there. So that's what an entire PvE combo would look like. And you can see that you're not really going to run into any sort of cooldown issues by doing this. If in the extreme event that you are running into some crazy cooldown issue, you can always use this Large Frenzied Tyrant AoE ability, or you can use Furl Rage. But these abilities are going to be like 99% of the time you're going to have full uptime on those abilities, and that's going to be your PvE rotation. So I know that I talked a lot in this video, and it was a little bit more confusing than the last one. For reference, the previous Berserker video was essentially SFLMB, Ultimate Frenzy Destroyer, and you hold RMB. This was literally it. Ultimate Frenzy Destroyer, hold RMB. This is what the class used to be. And unfortunately, that is no longer the class. So now let's talk about what I think of the changes. First of all, I totally get the sentiment that the PA wants to reduce the ability to grind while holding down a singular button. And I think that RMB needed to be nerfed in order for that to happen. However, they did raise the cooldown of, I think it was 2 or 3 different abilities, which is odd because if you take something away that's spammable and then raise the cooldown of other abilities, you kind of are forcing us to now choose to use worse abilities in PvE more often. And the problem with that is that even though our Claws and our Frenzy Destroyer got buffed in damage, as well as our Predatory Hunt, all of those received damage buffs. Even WF, Tackling Rock, got damage buffs. Because we need to prioritize worse skills in PvE, our overall PvE buffs were very, very minuscule. So I ran a normal Pig Cave run in 16 minutes and 58 seconds. I then, after the buffs, went and did a Pig Cave run as well, at the same exact buffs, and I did it in 16 minutes and 45 seconds. So I managed to shave off 13 seconds, and you would think that after certain abilities getting, say, 8% buff or a 12% buff, 20% buff, you would think that that would be a big difference, but because we're forced to now use these worse abilities, it has really hindered our PvE, and also our good abilities have longer cooldowns. And in some cases, our cooldowns were raised by 71%. Now, that sounds dramatic, but our Claws used to have a 3.5 second cooldown. Actually, they were spammable, but they raised that up to 6 seconds now, which means that, yeah, our PvE efficiency is hardly better than what it was. It was almost like a lateral move, slight buff, but a lateral move to a more annoying PvE class. And the worst part about it is that it's not even really relevant. So even if I got very, very efficient on this class and I was rotating perfectly and I was very good at Pig Cave, I don't think I could reach 16 minutes. I think 16 minutes would be very, very high-end performance, trying very hard. And even if you could do that, there are classes that are doing 14 minutes and they're not even thinking. They just have an infinite combo. They don't need to skill prioritize anything. They just rotate in a circle, and it requires nothing, no brain power at all. And they can do 14 minutes. And you might think, oh, it's only 2 minutes difference. That's not a big deal. Well, 2 minutes is a pretty big deal. That's, you could do the math on that, but that's somewhere between 15 to 20% increase in efficiency, which is very, very, very crazy to me, that they managed to miss the mark this hard when it comes to balancing classes. And that's not even the worst part of it. They also, 14 minutes is just the tip of the iceberg. There are also classes that are able to do that same pig cave run in like 12 or 13 minutes. So the efficiency of this class ranges from anywhere between 15 to nearly 30% worse than the overall best classes in the game. And I would put the class at a pretty low state when it comes to overall performance. I don't think that it's bottom tier, but I think that it's below mid tier in terms of PvE after all these changes. So a little bit disappointing. I was hoping for better. But if you guys are interested in PvEing on the class, it's something you can do. It's a very good PvP class, so some people decide to grind on it, and that's okay. That's why I kind of wanted to make this guide. But if you guys have made it this far, I hope you guys are willing to drop a sub to the channel. I'm going to be adding a summary of everything that I spoke about in this video, including a couple of things that I may have missed into my Discord channel. I will link that below. I actually am going to be making guides, or perhaps having guides made for every single class in the game and putting it into my Discord. So if you guys would like to check that out, I will link that below, and I'll be updating that from now on in the coming weeks. I implore you to check it out. They're made by, the class guides are going to be made by experts of their class. And I hope that you guys will check it out and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys all in the next video. Peace.